Hey, you guys, I am trying to go live again, and I'm using a new stand. So hopefully, this won't mess up. Bear with me, you guys, as I try to figure this out here. I think it was yesterday, and I did a live unboxing my Sonlight curriculum, and this is my computer down here. That's what I'm looking at. Welcome to my channel, you guys. My name is Natasha, and I wanted to give this curriculum live another chance. And so that's why I am doing it again this morning. Yesterday, hey, down, so they might come over and say hey to the live if they want to. But I recorded this whole long live unboxing my Sonlight curriculum as I promised. And I took out all the books. I talked about all the books that I had ordered, and it was great. And then I had a little bit of confusion with that unboxing. There were multiples of the things that I ordered, and since I was unboxing more than a month after I put the order in, I couldn't remember what my plan was at the time. And so I thought there might have been some kind of an error with the order. And so I took out my order, my order summary, my packing slip, and I kind of held it up to the camera as I was reading it, and all of my personal information was on that packing slip. So I had to take that video down. So you'll see another live from yesterday of me explaining that that's what happened with that unboxing, why I had to take it down. But as someone who's been homeschooling for a long time, I recognize how important these kind of videos are for people that are trying to make decisions about what curriculum to use for their kid with their kids. It really helps. The websites are really good, but I find that it really helps to get people's personal experiences with the curriculum, what they think about it, what they ordered, why they ordered it, how they organize it. So the curriculum comes with teacher guides to help you kind of schedule your day and things like that. And it also gives you a closer look into what the curriculum actually is, because with the unboxing, I basically showed you all the readers that we're going to be reading and the textbooky and workbook kind of materials, but it doesn't really tell you why I chose this curriculum and what we're going to actually be doing. So I thought that it might be interesting in today's video to open up my instructor guides and to go a little bit more in depth as I put them in binders and organize them for my kids. So that's what I want to do in this video. And then at the end, I'll take you to the kids' office and show you how I sort of kind of organized the books in there. So since this is a live, the whole reason I do this is so that we can have a back and forth interaction. So since this is a live, I would really love it if you participate in the chat. My name is Natasha. Welcome to my channel. I do videos about different experiences that I'm having that I want to share. Think of me as like your little sis, your big sis. Just trying to build community, just trying to share and help each other out. That's what my channel is about. So you'll find lots of homeschool videos on my channel because that's part of what I do. I have 4 daughters, ages 21, almost 18, 14, about to be 15. My youngest daughter is 10, and my son, who is the oldest, is 20, going to be 23 this summer. And so we've been homeschooling for a long time. But we've done different things. So I have a lot of videos about our process on the channel. I have a lot of hair videos. because I started this channel to talk about natural hair. And then I have lifestyle videos. And so today I want to get in depth about the curriculum that I chose. We are using Sonlight curriculum. I haven't used Sonlight in a lot of years, but I did use it a lot with my oldest two, the ones that are 23 and 21. I loved it. It wasn't working for me after a while because I found it to be a lot more involved when I was working with more than two kids. So when my third daughter, who is now almost 18, when she started getting into the more involved levels for grade school, I realized that I couldn't keep the multiple course going, and there was a big enough age gap between them. And my oldest two are pretty close together, but academically, my son was way ahead, and my daughter was a little bit ahead, but not quite. She would have naturally been 2 years behind him academically, and he was ahead. And so there was enough of a gap of knowledge between them that it was kind of hard for me to make the cores work to overlap and have kids working on the same things. And their interests were different. And so I'm sure I could have done it if I had been a little bit more knowledgeable and a little bit more creative, but I didn't know how to do it at the time. And so I didn't know how to work three different cores at three different levels, or to bring one core to three different levels. And so I left Sonlight because of that. So now that, I have two kids out of school, done and working, and I have one going into college, I only have two kids at home that I'm homeschooling right now. And that's when Sonlight worked the best for me. If you hear things in the background, I'm in the room right next to the kitchen, and my family's getting up and getting going. So hopefully you won't find that too disturbing. But please don't forget to let me know who you are. Let me know what you're watching, where you're watching from, whether you homeschool or not. And if you have any questions as I go along, if I don't stop to answer your question right when you ask the question, I will definitely go back and answer your questions at the end of the video, okay? And so first of all, I'm working with my two daughters, my 10-year-old who's a rising sixth grader, and my 14, almost 15-year-old who is going into 10th grade. Okay, and so the natural progression for where we have been is that they would both be doing world history. My 10th grader would be doing world history. She just finished civics and American history. And so she would be doing world history for 10th grade. But my sixth grader, we just did world history. And so I really wanted to put together a curriculum where I was working on the same era, just for the sake of me, the teacher, with both kids. But I wanted to do it in a way so that it wouldn't be too repetitious for my youngest daughter, who just went through world history with me. And so for her, I chose something that Sonlight has, and Sonlight is a history-based curriculum. So the history and the readers are all linked for the same time period to kind of give you multiple layers for what you're learning. So the history really gets into them by default anyway. So for her, I chose to do what they're calling Eastern Hemisphere, which I think they're labeling it as Sonlight F. This is what it looks like when you go to the website. Okay, so this is wrapped in cellophane or plastic. I took the plastic off of this. This is my instructor manual, and you can see that when you buy Eastern Hemisphere, you're buying history, Bible, and literature. So this is the instructor guide. So with Sonlight, you would have to add science to that, which I did do, and we'll get into that. You add your own math, and the literature doesn't include grammar and writing. And so I add grammar and writing, and we'll get into that as well. But for this that I'm putting together right now, this is my instructor guide for this, for Eastern Hemisphere. So I wanted to read to you what Eastern Hemisphere actually covers. And I'm looking at my computer down here. So Eastern Hemisphere basically it delves into these regions: China, Korea, Japan, Russia, Southeast Asia, Vietnam, India, the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Africa, the Pacific Islands, New Zealand, Australia, and Antarctica. So when I did world history with my 6th grader last year, we touched on these areas a little bit. What I'm looking forward to this year, and it was a heavier, last year it was a heavier focus on Europe and America naturally, because we're Americans doing history, okay? But what I want to do is delve more deeply into these Eastern Hemisphere regions, which I think will be interesting for me and eye-opening for my daughter, okay? So I have a binder here that I'm going to be putting this material in. And what I plan to do is I plan to put all the guides for each kid in one big binder, okay? So I'm just gonna let you know what comes with it. This is nice. I don't really need this because I have tons of maps in my house and globes. In the office where they work, there's a massive map, but this is really nice because this is a laminated map of the Eastern Hemisphere that folds into her binder that I think is going to be useful as she's doing work on the day-to-day. And it has a holes punched into it. It's like a trifold, and then you put it in your binder. So I'm gonna put it in here for her. Okay. All right. And this is a table of contents that lets you know what's in it. So this is basically made up of an introduction, the instructor guide. So, you know, you read through that to understand what you're getting and how Sonlight recommends that you organize it. Okay. I highly recommend, if this is your first time using the curriculum, that you do read this section, okay? Then another part of it is the schedule. So this curriculum actually comes with a schedule for all of the days. I think I ordered 5 day, so I don't know if that's 180 days, but it tells you Monday, this is what you need to do. Tuesday, this is what you need to do. Thursday, this is what Wednesday, this is what you need to do in each subject, okay? I found that to be extremely helpful, that I didn't have to come up with a schedule from scratch. The schedule is already done for me, and I'll show you when we get to that in the binder, okay? And it also comes with notes about what's in the schedule, okay? And the third part of this is the reading assignments, more in depth, and also further notes. And then at the end of this packet, you have the instructor guide resources. So I'm gonna hold the packet up to you so that you can have a sense of how thick it is. Okay, you guys? This is how thick it is. You see that? So you're getting plenty, okay? And so there's a page that kind of tells you the different books that when I unboxed, I showed all the books that I ordered. It tells you the different books, and it also tells you the week that that particular book appears in. So let's say you were the kind of person that didn't want to buy all of the books and you wanted to find some of the books in the library. I do know that for many of the titles, you may not find some of the books in the library because they're published by Sonlight, but a lot of the books are in the library. Like, for example, we're reading Around the World in 80 Days. That's in the library, okay? So suppose you were using the library, or you were borrowing books from friends, or you were ordering books little by little as your budget allows. The fact that it tells you what week that the book appears in is really helpful, because it kind of helps you to know how to pace yourself to order things, which I think is really awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna look here. So lots of there's a quick start guide to kind of help you figure out where to put things and how to organize things. Okay, and it's not a lot. Like the how-to page, it's like 3 pages worth of how-to. It's not like you're reading like pages and pages to figure out how to organize this thing. But here is the first week. Here is the schedule for the first week, okay? And I'm a box checker. I'm one of those people that doesn't feel good unless I check every box. But after homeschooling for years and years and years, I have been set free from that whole thing, okay? So this is my schedule, but I think of it more like, my suggested schedule, okay? So what I plan to do, okay, and I don't have my glasses on, so I can't even see what this is saying. What I plan to do is I plan to have these binders at the beginning of the week. I plan to sit with each kid, and I plan to look through what assignments have to happen during the week. And so let me just tell you how it's organized. So you have week 1, okay? So this whole page is week 1, okay? So you have the whole week at a glance, okay? So, but this page that I'm holding up is only for history, Bible, and literature. I have another instructor guide for science. And when I open it up, it's gonna be the same thing. Okay, so when I sit down to organize myself for the week, I will look at the week at a glance for history, Bible, and literature, and I will also look at the week at a glance for my science. Okay, and I organize math and writing differently. They will get math every day, but it's 1 lesson per day, so I don't really need to organize it in this way. Okay, so I'll probably be whipping this out, and I'll be whipping the science out. And as for things like grammar, that's also 1 lesson a day, so I don't need a schedule for that. They'll just open the workbook and keep going. Okay, and for writing, I might do writing twice a week. I might do essay writing twice a week, and I can schedule that. I could probably just write that in. So what I plan to do is take out these schedules and sit with my kid and sit with my schedule for what we have going on during the week. And I will look at this and I will decide how much of this I want to do, okay? So this is the week at a glance. You have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. I like the fact that they did day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, instead of doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, okay? What that frees my mind up for is I'm not stuck with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I might decide that I'm gonna combine, 2 things, day 1 and day 2, in certain subjects, in certain areas, or I might come up with some kind of configuration. So I plan to have a planner for my kids that they can write in. And I'm looking here on my desk. I cleaned out my desk for the year. I used to have a planner that they were using for school last year. I don't have it on my desk right now, but you get the image. The kind of planner that has enough room that you could actually write your assignments down in. That's what I'm going to be looking for them. And if I can't find it, I'll use a spiral notebook and create some kind of graphic organizing system that they can fill in for themselves. Okay. And for my my two kids, if things go well in the fall and we're able to do robotics team, which is a very involved extracurricular activity, and my daughters also do theater, I was hoping to go to a 4-day kind of system. I'm planning to organize all their academics in 4 days so that they have 1 day a week free to apply toward these extracurricular activities. So this kind of organized system makes it possible for me to create that, but I don't have to start from scratch because it tells me exactly what I'm doing each day. Okay, so that day for Bible, they have to read Psalms chapter 1, okay, on day 1. Okay, and then there's a little parent-student devotion that you can choose to do. Together you might read John chapter 1, verses 1 through 28 and sit and talk about it. And if they assign this, that means that somewhere in this packet, okay, the next page after week 1 are the notes that correspond with the assignments that are on the schedule. Okay, so I told you that for day 1, they had to start off for Bible, read Psalms chapter 1. Well, there's a whole 3 paragraphs here about, it's a commentary on Psalms 1 that, you can read to kind of prepare yourself to have some kind of conversation, lesson, or discussion with your kid about that. Okay? I'll read a little bit of it for you. It says, the book of Psalms, which your children will read over the next several weeks, echo many of the same themes brought up in Job and Ecclesiastes. God is righteous, yet the wicked seem to prosper. Why does it feel like God has abandoned me? God is huge, yet he cares for the oppressed. We have no hope but the Lord. The Psalms offers an excellent opportunity to discuss our emotions and thoughts about God. Both the cries of pain and the songs of praise. Okay? And it goes on, it gives you a background about Psalms, and it gives you insight about the text. So, I wouldn't sit and read this out loud to my kid. What I would do is go ahead and read what it says. And then so for my own personal information. And then I would actually read Psalms chapter 1 itself with my kid, or I might let them read it separately and I read it separately. But the discussion that we have, I might use the information that they offer to help enrich the discussion. Okay, so if you're the type of person who doesn't know too much about something that's in here as an assignment, these notes are really excellent to kind of give you something to springboard your lesson off of. And in a lot of cases, it's enough to actually make a lesson just out of the notes that they offer you. This is what I love about Sonlight, and this is one of the main reasons that I chose it, because I don't have a lot of prep time. So I'm paying for them to do prep for me, and then I can add my own flavor to it. Okay, I can pace myself and I can modify it so that it makes sense for my child's needs and it makes sense for who we are, if that makes any kind of sense at all. All right, so that was Bible, but you have the same kind of situation going on for history. Okay, so this curriculum also comes with something called Eastern Hemisphere notebook pages, and I wonder what happened to it because it was sitting right here. Okay, here it is. So this is like the workbook. These notebook pages, think of it as a history workbook for your kid that probably has worksheets in it, it has activities in it, it has further reading and insight in it for them to supplement the books that they're going to be reading with the curriculum, okay? And so I'm going to put this in a separate binder that my daughter will have to use throughout, okay? So this is not part of the instructor guide, okay? We're looking at the instructor guide right here. So for history and geography, that on day 1, they have to read the book. The names of the books are over here, okay? And this is day 1 in a column, day 2 in a column, day 3 in a column. So for day one, from the book Journey to the Eastern Hemisphere, they have to read China, the big picture. And then after that, in the notebook pages, the Eastern Hemisphere notebook pages that I just held up, they have to do the China timeline, okay? So I held that up when I did the unboxing. There are timeline figures that you can cut out and create a huge timeline that you could hang up on your wall or put on paper or however you want to do it. Little by little, your child will be adding different figures and important things to the timeline, which gives them a visual support for what they're reading about and kind of helps you to organize when all of these things are happening, okay? And so that's a timeline assignment, and it's in the notebook, and it tells you what page to go to, okay? Another book they have to read that day is 100 Gateway Cities. They're going to be reading pages 11 through 14. Okay, that's just like 3-4 pages. So the next day they have to read Gateway Cities again. So if I want to condense the week so that my kid is only working for 4 days instead of 5 days, I might say when we sit down and we do our planner at the beginning of the week, I might say instead of doing page 11 to 14 today and page 15 to 18 tomorrow, I want you to read page 11 to 18 and you just knock down 2 days worth of assignments in that particular subject in one shot, you know. So I love the flexibility to be able to organize and do it that way. Or if I want to have a light week and I just want them to do the work in bite-sized pieces and I want to spread it out over 5 days, I'll do that. But I plan to think about the curriculum in week chunks the way that they're giving it. And my goal is when we get to the end of each week, whatever I want to include in this, we will have had it done, but I'm not married to everything happening on the specific day that they have it outlined here, but I want to make sure I get through this whole body by the end of the week. That's how I've come to think about it. And I love that flexibility. I love that freedom. I love the fact that as a homeschooler, I'm in control of this. I love the fact that if my kid gets sick halfway through the week, you know what I'm saying? I'm not having to make an explanation or work on someone else's schedule to rectify that. I can rearrange, manipulate, and move things around on my own to fix that. I know exactly what's coming because it's right in my hand, okay? And so to go along with that, there are notes, okay? If I flip that first page I was showing you, and I'm going to put this down. I'm going to put this in my binder. If I flip the first page I was showing you about the comments on Psalms, there are comments on the book they had to read, Journey to the Eastern Hemisphere. And since this is the first day, these notes are going to have a lot of introductory information, but as you go further in, the notes will be more specific insight to what the kid just read to help you to talk to the kid about it, or maybe create some kind of a writing prompt for them to narrate back to you what they read, or whatever. If you want to give them some kind of essay quiz or whatever, because I know that's one thing that people really start to get anxious about when they're using a curriculum like this, which is not a curriculum where you have a bunch of workbooks with quizzes and exams. They start to wonder, well, how do I assess my kid? Like, what if, you know, by teaching my kid this way, they become poor test takers? You can create your own quizzes and your own tests. But what I want you to ask yourself is, you know, what you really want to do is you really want to assess how much your child is retaining, and you want them to be able to work with the information that they've gotten in a way that makes sense for application. Does that have to be a multiple choice test? Does that have to be a quiz? When your kid is in a public school or private school setting, why are they giving them these quizzes and these exams? It's because, you know, this is a very good way to assess a larger group of students. But if I'm working with my kid one-on-one, okay, yes, I want them to have the skill to be able to do that. But how much does that have to be a part of my homeschool process for them to gain that skill? Does it have to be a weekly part of their process? Is there another way for me to assess them? I found a lot of ways to assess my kids, and that don't involve it necessarily always being a quiz or a test. I lean really heavily toward making them write, answering short answer questions, answering an essay. I find that to be a lot more valuable than multiple choice tests. And so these notes that kind of go in depth into what you just read in the section, if you don't have time as a parent to read it yourself, it wouldn't be too hard to come up with a quick short answer question that you could have them answer after they do the reading that's on their schedule, and you could assess them. And maybe you won't assess them every single time they do a reading. Maybe you'll wait till the end of the week and do your little short answer assessment then. Okay? Or you might sporadically do your assessments. Maybe they won't have an assessment every week. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I stay prayerful, and the Lord helps me to figure out what's the best thing to do with my kid. Okay? So I'm going to see if there's anything else. You know, here, there are also activities that come with this curriculum. You know, there's a China kit that I showed, and when I get done putting this stuff in the binder, I'll walk you guys over to the office. Hey, Reset 2 Fit. Yeah, I will make sure to walk you over to the office so that you can actually see some of these books that I mentioned, because I've already put them on a bookshelf for my kid. Okay, so I just put all the pages that were in day 1 in my binder. Week 1 in my binder, and we're off to week 2. Okay, same thing for week 2. Week 2, here's the schedule. Day 1 through 5 are vertical. The books that you're looking for are in bold. You can organize your shelves so that your kid can literally get up and get everything that they need on their own. And what I like about this is that they're spending a fair part of their school just reading. Okay, so while they're reading, you could be looking at the notes and prepping, or you could be reading one of their readers. You understand what I'm saying? Because my goal, I shared this in the last video, the way I plan to get through this with my kids, you know, not only do I love history, but even if I didn't, I'm not an expert. Okay, so a lot of these things, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be being confronted with them for the first time. So I think of it as I'm doing it along with them. Okay, I will be reading along with them. I think the notes will help me so that I might not have to read every single page of every single thing. But I'm going to allow myself, if I'm reading something and I really enjoy it, I might read some of their readers cover to cover, just because I'm enjoying it. You know, I think me kind of doing the class along with them, it invites the opportunity for me to have really authentic one-on-one interactions and conversations with them. And yes, it sounds like a lot of work, but I was doing a lot of work when I was teaching at the co-op. It was a lot of work. I was doing a lot of work for others. I don't think there's anything wrong with me doing a lot of work for myself, okay? And so here's another map that's in week 2, okay? And the notes is not as many notes for the second week, but there's still notes for all of the assignments, okay? So I'm gonna put this quickly in my binder. Let me angle it down so you guys see what I'm doing. I'm organizing this stuff in the binder. And another thing I love is, I love the way this is laid out. Another thing I love is at the very top, there's this little box, okay? And it's all the weeks that it takes to get to the end of the year. And at the beginning of the, you know, so when you're looking at, this is week 6, when I'm looking at week 6, week 6 is highlighted in this little box, and it kind of gives me a visual of where I am in the year. Okay, so sometimes as we're working, as we're moving along, different things come up. Maybe people get sick, maybe something happened, unexpected, a trip had to happen, COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? You have a visual right there of where you are that can sort of kind of help you mentally reassess what you need to do, what shifts you need to make, or maybe even calm down. You know, look at how much of the year I have to go. Little Johnny's not doing that good in math right now, but I still have plenty of time to get back on track. You know, you always kind of have a visual of where you are. And over here at the very top, you fill in the actual dates in real time. Sorry guys, I know you can hear that background noise. As I said before, my parents are, my kids, I'm the parent. My kids are making breakfast, so that's all the noise you hear in the background. But these are the dates. You know, I like to fill this out right here, the dates. You can keep this for attendance purposes, you guys. You know, depending on what state you live in, different states have different rules about attendance and things like that. But it's a great way to track and use it for record keeping. Okay, so this binder, the history, Bible, and literature is all set to go for my 6th grader. So in the same binder, I am planning to put her health. Okay, so with my 6th grader this year, we did kind of like a general science, and this is Sonlight F. That's the name of the curriculum if you're interested. So with her, we did like a general science. Most of the year was general science, and then for the last 2 to 3 months of the Abeka curriculum that I was using for 5th grade with her, she had health, and my daughter loves science. Okay, my 6th grader, she loves science. She enjoyed the health so much that she was begging me to let her go ahead and do the regular science that she was doing and also work on the health so she could get to it faster. So I decided, well, instead of just doing a little piece of the year with health, let's do health all year. Okay, let's do health, human anatomy, medicine, all year. Okay, I have a whole bunch of Osborne human body style books in my bookshelves that she's been getting for fun anyway. Okay, we have a lot of doctors and in the family and things like that, so I wouldn't be surprised if she just has a natural bend and a natural interest. So since I'm homeschooling you guys, I can choose to do this with my kid in 5th grade. Okay, this is a fun time, just the same way I was able for history to do Eastern Hemisphere and specifically focus on the regions, the nations in the Eastern Hemisphere, and delve into China and Japan, which I love. You know what I'm saying? I can delve into anatomy. Okay, hold on a minute, you guys. Please, you don't have to be that loud. They're out there banging pots and moving things around, and I don't know how much of it you can hear in the live. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm pretty sure it's laid out in a very similar fashion, you know, as the one I just showed you. This is the instructor's guide. Okay. So the first page is cardstock, which I think is great. But since all the pages are flush, I do think that I'm going to go ahead and get some dividers so that I have a divider that separates the Bible, history, and literature from the science, so that if I'm looking for science, I can just quickly go and find science. Okay. So again, once again, I'm sure the first, this is the 4-day. Okay. So this science is taught in 4 days. When I was showing you the Bible, the history, and the literature, that was 5 days. This is taught specifically in 4 days. So again, I could combine this and have her get through science every week in 2 days. It's up to me. It depends on what they have laid out. So we're going to take a look and see what it is. Okay. I'm going to put this in. So, let me show you the table of contents. What's in this packet? You have the welcome. And there's a section about the books that the kids are going to be using. You have activity sheets. They even offer supplementary websites, corrections and suggestions, and a summary. Okay. And so that's the first section. The second section is the schedule, notes, probably similar to what we just looked at. And in the appendix, they have a weekly subject list. Okay. So again, you have a couple of pages of welcome. This is what this thing that you chose is about. And this is how we recommend that you organize it. And this is how we recommend that you work through the materials. Okay. That's the first couple of pages that are in this. Okay. And the books that come with this, I already ordered my books. These are all the books. They're listed right here. I have them at a glance. This is going to be really important the first week of school where when my kids are not quite familiar yet with their books, I can go right in my instructor's guide and look at all the books I'm supposed to have. And it never fails me, no matter how much I check, and I double check every year. There's always some book that I thought I ordered. You know what I'm saying? There's always some book that I thought I ordered. And then when it's time to do the book in the curriculum, the book is not there. Okay. Excuse me. Spit went down the wrong way. The book is not there. And I really appreciate this list. And I'm sure there's a list like this in the other guide that I can go back and order anything I need to order. And with Sonlight, as long as nothing is on back order, usually when I put in my order, I get the books, if not toward the end of the week that I ordered them, definitely by the following week. So their shipping is pretty fast. Unfortunately, they don't have free returns, you guys. They don't have free returns. So, you know, I meant to order the 4-day for the history, the literature, and the Bible that I just showed you guys. But by mistake, I ordered the 5-day. And I thought about shipping it back to get the 4-day schedule and the 4-day packet. They also use fewer books in the 4-day, but y'all, I went to the UPS store and had them weigh that box. I mean, the process to return is really easy, but you have to pay for it yourself. And they were quoting me a price that was near $30. And so in the age of Amazon Prime, you guys, I just could not get myself to do it. Okay. And so I wish they had free shipping on returns. They have free shipping when you order a certain amount, but they don't have free shipping on return. But nonetheless, the customer service is excellent, and the process to return is pretty easy as well. So again, it's the same kind of schedule, the same kind of notes that you had in the thing. And the way I see that they have it organized is you have about 3 days where you're reading different sections of the textbook or the different science books. And then it looks like the last day is experiment day. So I can already see, since day 1, you're reading page 1 to 3, page 6 to 9, day 2, you're reading page 10 to 11. I can already see myself telling my kids, do the reading day 1 and do day 1 and day 2 reading in one shot. And then do day 3 reading and the experiment. And I'll probably end up doing this in 2 days instead of 4 days and knocking science out like that. Okay. So we'll see. Reset said, I'm going to the website after this live. Do you know how this compares to Bob Jones? Bob Jones, I actually have a lot of Bob Jones, and I have used Bob Jones in the past, and I think Bob Jones is great. It's a whole heck of a lot cheaper. That's how it compares. I haven't used Bob Jones in all subjects, though, so I can't really speak to that. This is a lot more expensive than Bob Jones. The Bob Jones that I ordered wasn't organized and scheduled in this way. So I don't see how the two compares. I think of this as I can literally hit the floor running with this curriculum. I mean, if I had to do school tomorrow with this curriculum, I would be ready to go. I don't know if I could say that about Bob Jones, but as far as content and academic rigor, I didn't have a problem with Bob Jones. So that's all I can say about Bob Jones. But here is an example of a worksheet. I love the color. This is the answer. This is the answer to it. Okay. So if you're giving your kid access to your book, just be aware that, you know, the answers are here as well. Okay. And I just wanted to check. These pages are numbered also. So if the wind blew and all of this stuff fell all over the floor, I could put this back in place. This is a worksheet that I would be handing to my kid to fill out. So the worksheets are in here. The worksheets and the activity sheets are in here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead because it's organized in exactly the same way as the other one. You're welcome. You're welcome, Reset to Fit. So you still have this box, you have the date, you have the weeks. It's very similar, which I like. Everything is very cohesive from subject to subject. So I like that. You guys, I'm getting a low battery message on my phone, which I don't know how because I put it on the thing before. So I see the week by week schedules and worksheets in here and answers to certain worksheets in here. Okay. So this is history, literature, Bible, and science. Already though, for my 6th grader, okay? With her, I am using Abeka, and I'm gonna pick you guys up and take you to the office. With her, I am using Abeka, and this is gonna throw my stand off that I'm carrying. With her, I am using Abeka for math, and this is the office. It's kind of dark, so let me turn some lights on for you guys. We have an overcast day today. All right. So with her, I am using Abeka. So this is our bookshelf that we have. So if you were able to see the unboxing, let me see if I could set this down. If you guys were able to see the unboxing with me yesterday that I took down, you saw that it seemed like we were going through a boatload of books. And if it was me, I would have been wondering, yo, like, how you gonna read all of that? I know you have a year, but that's a lot of books. This top shelf is for my younger daughter, my 6th grader. This bottom shelf is for my older daughter, my 10th grader. And let me move this camera up. And up here is math and grammar. This is math and grammar for my 2 kids over here. This is the China kit. This is the science experiment kit. And this is math for my older 2 kids. So when it all comes out of the box, you know, it was a lot of books to go through one by one. But as you can see, this is a reasonable amount of books to use all year long. So I've organized everything already for them so that when we start school in the fall, they'll be able to know exactly where to go to get their books. But this is the math that I'm using for my 6th grader. She's already well into this book. Okay, this is 6th grade math. She's already well into this book because she's a little bit ahead because she's really good at math. And I like Abeka because the lessons are pretty brief and quick. This is the lesson that's at the top of the page. If she gets it, we just move her right on through. Move her right on through. And I also have the Abeka video. I paid for the Abeka video program so that she goes, she watches the lesson that the teacher gives her. Then she does the practice for the lessons. I check it. If she's having any problems, then I sit with her one-on-one and we work through whatever she's stuck on. But she's really good at math, so several days can go by and I don't have to do any kind of lesson or any kind of work with her, which is actually good because she's pacing herself and she doesn't have to hear me drone on and on and on about something she already understood on her own. So I'm always training my kids to work independently and I'm giving them the keys to learn with the materials, but I'm right there anytime they have a question or they have any kind of issues. Okay, so for grammar with my 10th grader, I'm using Easy Grammar. She's already gone through all the grammar rules multiple times and she's really good. So this is just a review. Every day she'll do one sheet. It's really very quick, basic, and easy. She'll do one sheet just to keep the concepts fresh in her mind, but she already knows this back and forth. She's really good at grammar, my 10th grader. But we're talking about my 6th grader. I ordered this workbook for her. Sonlight does offer language arts, but I never really liked it in the past. I haven't looked at it as of late, but when I did it with my 21-year-old and my 23-year-old, I thought it was kind of dry. I thought the concepts were kind of advanced and I really needed to be able to break them down for my kids. And at the time, they only had worksheets that came in the instructor guide. There was no kind of book or no kind of lesson to help you with it. So my thing is going. Let me see if I could hook this up to some kind of power because it looks like my phone is about to go dead. So anyway, I bought this. I bought the curriculum. I'm going to see if I could hook you guys up to power. So I bought the curriculum. I bought the curriculum specifically to be able to teach her grammar because I don't want her to start to hate it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so dry. Okay, this is not the right plug. Am I gonna be thwarted by a low battery, you guys? I usually use what do you call it? A cordless stand to charge my phone. And so having to hunt down something with a cord, the struggle is real. All right, now you guys are getting an impromptu tour of my house. Gee, goodness. All right, let me put this down. Okay, so I hope this is helping you guys. I hope this is helping because I know a big deterrent to homeschooling is really trying to figure out how you're going to make all of this work on your own and how you're going to organize everything and, you know, how you're going to develop a system that really works. But I think the most important thing to remember is that you're never going to know what works for you until you're doing it. So you have to stay flexible and you have to be willing. I'm trying to plug you guys in. Okay, you guys are in. You have to stay flexible and you have to be willing to try new things and to let certain things go when they're not working well. Looks like this thing, we lost the my stand situation, and I'm not quite sure. Is it off? Is the battery? Yeah, I think the battery's going on my stand, so I'm gonna grab hold of this. I'm gonna have to end. My stand fell on the ground. I'm gonna have to end this live soon if it's too shaky. But I was just getting excited, y'all. I was getting into it. you just have to be patient with yourself, and you just have to realize that, you buy these systems, and, you're in charge of the system. The system is not in charge of you. Okay. And so you can make the system work if you're willing to. Nobody's looking over your shoulder and telling you can't make certain changes, like the changes that I mentioned with the schedule, to try to make it work for you. You don't have to check every box. Okay, did I just turn the sound off? You don't have to check every box. You don't have to do it as it is written. You understand what I'm saying? All of these things are things that I learned over time. But I love to homeschool because you can't beat having the ability to make things work and tailor things to specifically fit who you are and what's going on in your life right at that moment. Okay. So I left off saying that I got this workbook because it's colorful. I'm a lot more confident with grammar now and with teaching the concepts. And so I'm going to be using this with my 6th grader, and with my 10th grader, as well as with my 6th grader, I'm going to be doing this essay writing for homeschool. I taught at a co-op for several years. I taught 7th grade English, 11th grade. It's not a co-op. It's an umbrella school. They're actually an accredited school. Whoops. Sorry if anybody, I don't know how I made that mistake. But anyway, I taught 7th grade English, 11th grade English, and world history. Okay. And one thing that I noticed is that, the information, the knowledge was there, but some kids really struggled with writing. They were good at creative writing, but when it came to essay writing, which is a precursor really to research paper writing, because when you're writing a research paper, you're supporting a thesis, you're building an argument. And I noticed that a lot of homeschool kids didn't necessarily know how to do that well in writing. Okay. And so while I have my 10th grader home with me this year, one of my greatest focuses is to work on essay writing, the compare and contrast essay. You understand what I'm saying? The persuasive essay, all the different kind of essays that we need to know how to write, not to mention that they have to write to apply to anything. You know what I'm saying? To apply to college and apply for scholarships, they have to know how to write good essays. And so I want to specifically focus on that this year. So I think this came off of some kind of website. I ordered this. Let me put my glasses on because I think it's on the cover. Teachers Pay Teachers website. So I basically, can you see that? It's right by under the little girl. I basically registered on that website. And then I was able to download this, but you have to know yourself. So for very cheap, I was able to download this onto my computer, but you have to know yourself. And after homeschooling for all these years, okay, homeschooled my son, who's going to be 23, he was homeschooled all the way through, okay. After homeschooling all of these years, I know myself. It doesn't matter how good this curriculum is, as long as it's on my computer, I'm not going to be able to make good use of it. So I had uploaded this it's a download, you pay for it, to my computer. So what I did was I went on Staples, okay, and I had this jammy printed, okay. It cost me a little bit more to have this printed, but it was worth every dime because now I'm going to actually use it because I don't have to go fish for it on my computer and sift through it on my computer, I have a book that I can work with. And so this has a lot of prompts in it, a lot of essay prompts, and it goes in depth into the different kind of essays and what you're looking for. And there are even graphic organizers to help you with the writing process. I'm not a method writer, you guys. I know that there is curriculum out there. I know of IEW for one that a lot of homeschoolers like to use. I'm not necessarily against it, but I feel boxed in teaching it. So I definitely don't want to box my kids in using it with them. I don't, it's a whole other language for me to learn that I'm not really interested in learning. So I kind of like things like this, where you could just get to the meat of it, and then in a specific case by case basis, I can say, okay, you're using too much of this word. Can we write this more in an active voice? I mean, specifically, we can address those things. But I don't want to do a bunch of exercises every day, drudgery, before you actually get to writing the piece. I don't write that way, and I don't want to teach my kids to write that way. And that's another thing I've learned as a homeschooler. It might be a good curriculum, but it might not match with who you are. And for you to be able to be consistent and to keep doing it, it needs to match with who you are and where you are. Okay, and so that's what I'm going to be using with my 10th grader. And most likely, I will end up pulling some things out of that to use with my 6th grader. So for math, so with moving on to my 10th grader, for math, she's doing Algebra 2, and we're using Math-U-See. Okay, so Math-U-See does have a workbook. There's also quiz and test book. And it comes with a DVD, you guys. And you can also stream these lessons as well. I think I do have access to the streaming as well. So if I travel, if we had a beach house and we wanted to spend time at our beach house, I wouldn't have to bring this DVD. I could stream the lessons. But I have the DVD as well. And so the kid listens to a lesson, does the assignments. If they have any problems, you grade the work. And if they have any problems, you sit with them and you work through whatever they're struggling with. This works really well for me. Some people hate Math-U-See. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in it. So when we went, we used the umbrella school for math. Last year, I actually was so worried that Math-U-See hadn't done a thorough job, because that's what I used with her for homeschool before, that I went and I made her kind of repeat some of the stuff that we had already done, and math was a piece of cake for her. So it worked the first time. I probably didn't need to put her through that, again. So again, it depends on the kid. So when somebody tells you that a curriculum is good or a curriculum is bad, it depends on the kid. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's whether or not it works for you. Assuming that the curriculum has the scope and sequence and all the expected things in it that you're supposed to learn. It's really a matter of the kid's learning style and your teaching style and what works for them. And Math-U-See worked really well for her. So guess what? We're going back to Math-U-See. So for science, so I showed you how we're doing health for science with my youngest. I'm going to be doing that same health program with my 10th grader. I'm gonna make her fly through it though. But I also bought science for her. That's different from what my younger two are doing. So both of them will be doing what I just showed you. But her real science curriculum is part of this kit. She's doing biology with me. And I really am excited about how I could easily double up that other one, because that'll come in really handy with her. And that's why I had so many doubles. I ordered 2 health curriculums. And, it's still killing me because, I have 2 of all the books, even though they're not consumables. But the reason I chose to do that, since we had the budget to do it, is because inevitably they always want to be using the same book at the same time. I thought there'd be a lot of fighting. I also wanted to be able to mark up the teacher's guide specifically for each one of them. And so I thought about sending it back when I got the books and saw that they weren't consumables. But then I decided, you know what? It didn't really cost that much more just to keep the peace and help things to flow in my house. It might be worth it to have 2 of each. And so that's what the doubles were. And that's what my mentality was when I made the order in the first place. And so I decided to keep it. Okay. So, so they'll be working on that. And I'm trying to see if I could plug this in by my desk. I'm going to try to plug this in by my desk. I thought there was a comment because I wanted to show you what curriculum. I'm not going to go through it as in depth as I did with my 6th grader because it's basically the same kind of setup. But I wanted to show you the curriculum that I am using with my 10th grader. Okay, so for her, we're doing world history, the traditional world history that covers more than just the Eastern Hemisphere. And I'm hoping that there'll be a little bit of overlap. I'm sure there will be, because there are read alouds that come with this curriculum that my younger daughter will be listening to. So she'll get like a little bit of a refresh. So this is the instructor guide for her. And for science, like I said, she'll be doing the same thing that I'm doing with my 6th grade. Health is required in high school, so she'll do that real quick. But I bought biology, taxonomy, and human anatomy, level D. This is for my high schooler, my 10th grader, because she's interested in nursing, you guys. And so I thought that if I have her at home with me, this would be a good time for us to delve into this stuff to see if there really is the level of interest she thinks that she has. Okay? And so I'm gonna open this and put this in her binder, because I have a different binder that I'm going to set up for her. And then my kids will be good to go. We're not starting school until August, you guys. But I figure that if I have my binders set up and I have the books set up and everything, I can use the summer to leisurely look through my instructor's guide whenever I feel like it, and to read through some of these books ahead of time whenever I feel like it, so that in August, when it's time to start, I'm not having that overwhelm, getting adjusted and adapted to everything at once with my kids. I can be there to guide them and point out where everything is, because I already know, because I will have already, had the experience of working with it on my own. And it gives me something to do. It gives me something to do with the situation that we're in, where we're spending so much more time at home and so many things are still closed that we would have been doing to enjoy ourselves during our free time during the summer. I plan to sit out on my deck and do a lot of reading, along with my gardening and everything, and my painting and all the other things that I have that I can still do here for fun. So I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. Let me go through the chat to make sure that I haven't missed any questions. I don't think so, because you guys were pretty quiet. Let me see if I missed any. It's the time to ask it before I get off this live. But I hope this was helpful to you guys, especially you guys that are looking for curriculum and are thinking about homeschooling. I'm super excited, super happy. I mean, honestly, I think the way they have the curriculum set up is even better now, because you know, the graphics are even better. The little added thoughtful insights that they've added is even better than when I used it years ago, and I loved it when I used it years ago. And so I'm super excited for the fall, you guys. I'm super excited to take the reins with homeschooling. I think this is going to be really good for us, okay? But let me know when, after I turn this off, I will come back and keep track of the comments when I enable the comments and everything. If there's anything you would want me to address in depth in another video, I'm always looking for suggestions, and I'm always happy to make a video, even if it's a request from one person, because I see you guys as real people. And in real life, if one person asks you a question, you would answer, right? You wouldn't wait for like 20 people to want to hear it before you made your answer. So I'm treating you guys the same way. My channel is small enough that I can do that. So if any of this helped you, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please don't forget to hit like so YouTube knows that somebody cares about this content that I'm putting out. That would really help me out. Be blessed, you guys, and I will see you in the next video.